Good afternoon and welcome to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Blue skies treating us here for race 4 of the 2021 MotoGP eSport Global Series. 15 minutes of qualifying coming up. Jack Appleyard and Jack Gorst with you once again to talk you through the action. And I tell you what, I think this is going to be a belting little qualifying session. Of course, the Red Bull Ring, only 10 corners, but it always delivers close and competitive racing. So I think the grid is going to be difficult to split, but it will then also provide a great race later on.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Jack. It's quite often that we come here to MotoGP events in real life and we see, well, the entire field within kind of 1 second or so. It's certainly a place that doesn't give much margin to improve compared to your rivals. So, yeah, no doubt when we come to the racing a little bit later on, I'm sure that we will see this one all the way down to the final lap. And probably the final corner as well, because how many times does it happen in real life, Jack? Pretty much every time.
Yeah, it certainly does. And if you're joining us for the first time and you've not checked out qualifying from the Sachsenring, then of course the Sachsenring will be race 3 of the Global Series as round 2 kicks off shortly. And of course this race here will be race 4. So if you want to catch up on the Sachsenring first and then come back to us, Sachsenring held in wet conditions, and not to give away the results, I'll give you an opportunity just to close us down on YouTube or MotoGP.com and head on over to qualifying, which held earlier on. And it was, of course, the first time in 2021 that we've not had Andrew ZH on pole position. The honour going the way of Trastevere, the Italian, taking pole for that one. And I think he'll be probably one of the favourites to take pole here as well, as these guys start their first flying laps.
Yeah, you'd think so. Obviously, balanced performance, so no advantage for any of the guys, regardless of what manufacturer's bike they're on. But, well, it's a red style at the Red Bull Ring. Something just tells me that he's going to have a little bit of mumbo around here.
A little bit of what?
Mumbo.
Oh, right, okay.
So anyway, coming on to the first flying laps and through the first split, we watch Trastevere now. Coming down into turn 4, this is one place where, particularly in this game, MotoGP 21, they've got to be careful with those front brake temperatures. We do know that in real life it causes a bit of a problem here, and a lot of guys do run on into the gravel, and certainly that's what they need to do as well here. They need to watch out for that certain scenario. Oh, Trastevere's took the front going into turn 6 on his first flying lap, so that one's going to be scrapped from the record, and he'll give it another go. I'm sure he'll maybe go and make a couple of setup tweaks now and see what he can do just to improve the feeling with that M1. So then, looks as though the first few guys that are going to be crossing the line, I think it was Christian first to cross the line on the Suzuki. A decent qualifier, Williams Christian, but could just do with finding those last couple attempts to really give him that edge in the races. So he sets the benchmark then with 1:20.920. Can anybody beat it at the first attempt? Let's see. Mr. T's 1.6 off. Trastevere, we do know that his lap has gone away. And it looks as though he's going to hold it for now.
We've had both Adrian and Piero Ricciuti come down pit lane. Andrew ZH into turn 10, the final corner here. What can he do? He'll run it wide. Oh, he's nowhere near track limits. Good line from him there. Comes across the line. Andrew ZH goes second. Half a second adrift of Williams Christian. Great start for the Suzuki man. And I tell you what, he needs a big result here because he's start to life in 2021 for a man that's a multiple race winner. He's been in the championship hunt on a number of occasions, but race 1 and race 2 of 2021 for the Suzuki man saw him finish 6th in the first one, 5th in the second one. He would have been disappointed with that because normally he's a very consistent podium runner.
Yeah, and I do believe he was 7th as well in the first race this evening, race 3 of the Global Series, so he'll certainly be looking to improve because that's not particularly where we expect Williams Christian to be. Obviously finished 2nd in the world, once before, so he's a man that runs right at the front, and it's just not quite where we know that Williams Christian can be. So Trastevere then, he's on a PB lap, and just as I talk about him, he dives right into pit lane. Obviously not too happy with how that one was going anyway.
Let's not forget, of course, that Williams Christian was really the man to beat here the last time we came in 2020. I remember a fierce battle with both Adrian and himself, and the pair were inseparable. They were a league above the rest. So it shouldn't be a surprise to see him up there challenging at the top once more. So let's see if he can continue that form into the race.
Good to see Joel Clay having another good qualifying session at the moment. I'm sure he's got a little bit of time under his belt. He's 8/10 back at the moment, but he qualified 4th on the grid for the first race this evening at Sachsenring in the wet. We wonder if he can do it in the dry again. Obviously the wet conditions are a little bit tricky. I think that was Christian just getting out of the way all the way on the grass there as Piero came firing through. Coming up to the first split now, and he's under. So here we go, then we may get a little bit of action as we start coming down into the final 10 minutes of this session. The other man on the other Honda, Adrian, the world champion, he's PB through the first split, so not quite as good as his LCR counterpart, but I'm sure that he won't be too far behind anyway. Adrian, incidentally, needs a lap at the moment. He's 18.9 off. Obviously, his first lap, he must have had a couple of crashes there. And incidentally, I believe it was the Portimao qualifying session where he didn't get a lap in until it was like 3 minutes to go, Jack. So he certainly likes to leave things a little bit late in 2021.
I think he's a bit of a perfectionist in the fact that he knows when a lap isn't there, and maybe it's a bit of a downfall as well, because I think it will catch him out at one point if he feels he makes a tiny mistake which might lose him a 10th or 2, and he knows it's not good enough for pole. He's thinking, right, there's no point of completing this lap, when in reality it's better to be 4th on the grid or 5th on the grid than it is to be 10th or 11th by not setting a lap. So maybe it's something that he just needs to see the lap through, at least get something on the board like that. 4th,
good banker,
and then he can build from there. Then he knows he's got a little bit of a comfort buffer there if things do go wrong in the final 8 minutes. At least he's going to be in and around the second row of the grid, which is, as we've seen from Portimao earlier in the year, good enough.
Yeah, certainly. As long as you're up there at the start, you can generally get your elbows out and mix it amongst the big boys as they come down into the final few laps. Ricardo Batara, then he jumps up from 11th all the way up to 3rd. 4/10 off. I'll tell you what, it's quite surprising that lap time from Williams Christian right at the start of the session has lasted all the way till now with 7 minutes to go as provisional pole. I did think they would maybe better that one a little bit earlier than what they have. I'll tell you what, with 1/4 of a second buffer on the next fastest man, Piero Ricciuti, who's on your screen right now, that may well hold till the end. But anyway, let's not count our chickens. Dark Bright is on an improving lap. Andrew ZH, the man on the Ducati, we said watch out for him. He is on a red sector coming through sector 1 then. So it seems that Williams Christian's 1:20.920 is just starting to come under attack.
Here we go then, Trastevere into the final sector here at the Red Bull Ring. Turn 9 and 10 ahead of him. Flicks it right through turn 9. This is an important lap for Trastevere. Where's it going to put him? Into turn 10. Make sure you don't exceed track limits there. All line astern stuff. Just clips the green, but he gets away with it. 6, now 7 for Trastevere, with Jack Hammer improving as well. Let's keep our eye on Andrew ZH, the Ducati man. Red through that first sector, improving through the second sector and the third one as well. It's definitely looking like it will be good enough for the front row, but is it good enough to challenge Williams Christian at the top of this one? What a great lap that was, 1:20.920. Incidentally, the fastest lap of the race from last year was a 1:20.905. So right on the pace is Williams Christian. Andrew ZH comes across the line there and takes 3rd, so it's still the Suzuki man a 1/4 of a second ahead of the rest.
Yeah, and this man on your screen right now, Trastevere 73, he's got some work to do. He's 3/4 of a second off, 8th place at the moment, middle of the 3rd row of the grid. That's certainly not where he expects or wants to be. So the Yamaha then looks as though he's got a little bit of time to find whether it's set up or particularly that he's just not particularly flowing with this track. We'll have to ask him and find out, of course, but Trastevere really needs to find a good lap, and this lap certainly isn't going to do it either. 3 grey sectors, so no improvement coming on this one, as he actually does just dive into the pit lane.
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a lull here, I think, with 5 minutes to go. The guys will all be coming down pit lane, putting new rubber into the rear of their machines as they go out again and look to gun for pole position. Here's Ricciuti following. Is that Adrian? It is. The 2 Honda guys working together here. Ricciuti at the moment, the closest rival to Williams Christian. Adrian's pulled out of this one. Just looking at Ricciuti here, is he building up to start a flying lap? It looks like he may well be into the final corner here. So we'll keep our eye on the LCR man. Is this going to be the lap that can take top spot away from Williams Christian? He starts this flying lap and he's into the opening corner here, with Adrian behind also warming up onto a fast lap as well. He has a big bobble over the curb at turn 1 there, weaves from right to left to try and keep that front wheel down as much as possible, to try and hold as much drive as possible as well. Hard onto the brakes into turn 3, a tricky braking area here. So easy to lose the front just like that, and I promise that wasn't planned as well.
Certainly not, and that was very, very Marc Marquez-esque from Q2, I do believe, when he did that here in the Red Bull Ring as well on the first weekend. So certainly taking one out of the page of Marc Marquez there, but not the page that he wanted. Fuchs then, this is good. This is good from the Yamaha man. Obviously Fuchs generally somewhat down the order. He's still very, very fast. Last year actually, when he was in the qualifying stages, I think he scored maximum points, so he's certainly got the 1 lap pace. Just hasn't quite been able to find it in the Global Series, but if this lap is anything to go by, let's hope he can jump up into those top 2 rows on the grid and make a bit of a charge at it this time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would begrudge that as well, because he's a great, great lad, is Fuchs. Very, very likeable. He actually is quite the designer as well. So in the MotoGP game, you can design your own numbers, your own helmets, and the rest as well. And Fuchs is actually the man that designs a lot of it for a lot of the riders out there. He's a bit of a dab hand, that sort of stuff, and he does a great job for a number of the riders out there. So he's well liked by a lot of the people out there, as he is by us as well, and he jumps up to 8th. Only 3/4 of a second adrift. That's a good performance from the Brazilian.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. He's in established company there with Trastevere and the rookie sensation at the moment, Jack Hammer. So yeah, certainly not bad at all from Fuchs. This man, 4th will do, but I imagine that he wants a little bit more. We do know that he's had 2 pole positions already this year, so certainly a 3rd one will, well, just sweeten the deal a little bit for him, particularly at the Red Bull Ring, a place where Ducati does go very well indeed. And it looks as though he's going to go for it right now, just coming down with just under 3 minutes to go. And Andrew ZH, he's wound the wick up on that Ducati and he's fired it out in the final corner. And this may well be the lap we'll see in just under a minute and a half's time.
Yeah, time ticking by now, just 2.5 remaining. Trastevere was on an improving lap. That has gone away through the 2nd sector. And this is a disappointing performance from Trastevere here. He needs to find something in these closing 2 minutes if he wants to challenge at the top. Just like Andrew ZH is going red through the 1st sector. He's about to go through that 2nd intermediate point very shortly. Onto the brakes, downhill at turn 4. Probably for me the trickiest part of the circuit. So difficult to get it bang on there. Very easy to brake just a fraction too late, and as soon as you realise you're in the gravel trap. It's gone away from him through that 2nd sector, a grey sector there, so he's not on an improving lap, which isn't ideal for him. He is able to pull it back though through this 3rd and 4th sector if he manages to find something quite magnificent out of the hat. Down the back straight then, onto the brakes into turn 9, and he is improving, so this could be good enough for the front row here for the factory Ducati man. Continue his run of 4 consecutive front row starts if he can jump up there. Here he comes across the line momentarily. Andrew ZH goes from 4th to stays 4th, so not the improving lap time he was hoping for. Trastevere, meanwhile, we've given him the big up. We've told him he needs to pull his finger out, and that's exactly what he's doing. Red through the 1st sector. Is this going to be the lap that sees the 2-time champ move up? And once again, just like last time, it's gone away for him through that 2nd sector. Mr. TFTW looks like he got it a little bit crossed up there through turn 9. Through turn 10 comes the Aussie. Gets it onto the fat part of the tyre, drives it towards the start-finish line, and he improves. It remains 1.5 seconds adrift. So Trastevere will concentrate on him. He is improving here. It may be good enough to move in a little bit up the order. Meanwhile, Ricardo Bataro wide through turn 3 there. The lap hasn't been cancelled, but that's not the fastest line through there. Don't be surprised to see a grey sector pop up shortly. Meanwhile, Trastevere, we mentioned him, he moves up a place to 8th, but still that's not what he would have wanted, as Bataro, having made that mistake at turn 3, he then makes a bigger one at turn 4, and the front end folds. We'll also, Jack, keep our our eye on Piero Ricciuti, because he has also gone red through that first sector.
Yeah, it certainly has. Trastaveri's just gone red through that first sector, but to me he looked a little bit pedestrian coming down there into turn 3, so we'll see what happens when he crosses the stripe for the second intermediate. And speaking of the second intermediate, Piero Ricciuti halfway round, and he is up, and this is it. Look at those checkered flags appearing next to the rider names. This is the lap do or die for Piero Ricciuti, as Adrian is now on a PB through the first split, and Piero Ricciuti goes red again through the third split. We need to turn to him. We need to see Piero Ricciuti coming through turns 9 and 10, the two right-handers. See what the LCR Honda man has got. He'll be crossing the line very, very shortly indeed.
Quarter of a second adrift. Can he find it? No, he can't. He only finds a 10.5. He remains a 10th adrift of Williams Christian. Second for Ricciuti. Is anybody going to challenge that? It doesn't look like it. Adrian is on an improving lap. He may be able to steal it away. Trastevere, once again, good through the first sector, but that's gone away for him through sectors 2 and 3. Fuchs as well. Maybe he can challenge at the sharp end. The Brazilian looking to throw a late lunge together here towards the top end of the timing sheet. Trastevere will be first across the line. Should be moving towards the start-finish line very, very shortly. We'll keep an eye on him, and he stays 8th. So nothing to come for Trastevere in the closing stages. Adrian will be next across the line. He stays 3rd. Fuchs will be the final man. He's wide there, is it? Onto the green. Yep, that's going to be lap gone for Fuchs. He will stay 9th, as he does. And it will be pole position for the first time this year for the Suzuki of Williams Christian. Followed on the front row by Piero Ricciuti and Adrian. But the big surprise, Trastevere all the way down in 8th.